Today, we mark a tragic milestone here in the United States. 1 million COVID deaths, 1 million empty chairs around the family dinner table. Each irreplaceable losses. Each leaving behind a family, a community, forever changed because of this pandemic. My heart goes out to all of those who are struggling, asking themselves, how do I go on without him? How do I go on without her? What will we do without him? It's grief shared by people across all of our nations. Around the world, many more millions have died. Millions of children have been orphaned. And with thousands still dying every day, now is the time for us to act, all of us together. We all must do more. We must honor those we have lost by doing everything we can to prevent as many deaths as possible. Today, we're at a new stage in fighting this pandemic, facing an evolving set of challenges. We have to double down on our efforts to get shots in people's arms, country by country, community by community. Ensure we have reliable and predictable supplies of vaccines and boosters for everyone, everywhere. Expand access globally to tests and treatments. And we have to prevent complacency. This summit is an opportunity to renew our efforts, to keep our foot on the gas when it comes to getting this pandemic under control and preventing future health crises. Collectively, we're making significant new commitments to help keep up the fight against COVID-19 in 2022, protect the most vulnerable populations, and prepare for the next health crisis because there will be others. And the United States is going to continue to do our part.
We turn now to the pandemic and the once unthinkable tragedy of 1 million U.S. COVID deaths. White House COVID response coordinator Ashish Jha warns the United States is still in a pandemic state with more than 80,000 infections and hundreds of deaths every day. CBS's Ed O'Keefe reports tonight from the White House.
At the White House and the Capitol, Washington paused today to mark an American COVID death toll fast approaching 1 million.
There's still so much left to do. This pandemic isn't over.
The milestone is bringing back memories for so many Americans, like Alexa and Brooklyn Rivera. Their mother and grandmother, Ana Martinez, died at the height of the pandemic.
About an hour after the conversation with the doctor about her kidneys failing, she was gone. I remember bawling in my room. I hadn't cried so much since I was like a child.
The president today acknowledged the loss.
1 million empty chairs around the family dinner table. Each irreplaceable losses.
But he reiterated the pandemic isn't over.
We have to double down on our efforts to get shots in people's arms, country by country, community by community. Ensure we have reliable and predictable supplies of vaccines and boosters for everyone, everywhere.
Mr. Biden's pre-recorded remarks, far more subdued than how he's marked previous COVID milestones, came during a global summit on how to fight the pandemic. The U.S. and other nations committed more than $3 billion more today with money for vaccines and testing. The U.S., which has invested $19 billion in the global fight, announced plans to share technologies developed to fight the pandemic with the World Health Organization. At least 2 million people have died across Europe, according to the WHO. The president is also pushing Congress to fund more pandemic preparedness, but that has stalled. So the White House is prodding lawmakers by once again warning today there could be up to 100 million COVID infections across this country by this fall, unless there's more money soon to pay for vaccines and other treatments. Nora?
Just stunning. Ed O'Keefe, thank you.
Tonight with the sobering milestone, a once unimaginable number. President Biden now marking 1 million lives lost here in the U.S. to COVID. Behind every number is a loved one lost, a family changed forever. And there is another staggering figure in all of this. For every 4 COVID deaths in this country, 1 child has lost a parent or primary caregiver. More than 250,000 children who've lost a parent. We have spent months here documenting their journey across this country, the quiet bravery of so many children who get up every day and head to school, head to work. We have seen so many heated debates over masks and vaccines, angry school board meetings, but some have asked who is standing up to help the children. Tonight, they take us inside their homes, their schools, their quiet moments, their strength often going unnoticed. Tonight, President Biden calling on flags to be lowered at the White House and the Capitol to honor these families. The president saying we must not grow numb to such sorrow.
More than 1 million lives cut short across America. This, the only way to visit them now. Laura's father, Alfredo, caught COVID while in a nursing and rehabilitation facility just as the pandemic was ripping through New York. For 3 weeks, he battled to stay alive, but the virus proved too tough an opponent.
My dad is leaning in and holding my hand, just about to blow out our birthday candles.
Laura had to say goodbye wearing a hazmat suit. 2 years later, she says she misses his jokes and pranks and hasn't healed from his sudden death.
But I feel like I don't want to, that pretending that he's still kind of around, and because his presence was so ginormous that I still feel it, that it's hard to accept that he's actually not here.
More than 40,000 people have died in this city, the scene of the first major outbreak in the United States. During the scariest months, morgues couldn't keep up with the fatalities. Bodies were buried in mass graves. Nothing ever paralyzed the city in this way.
New York is looking more like its old self, but it hasn't completely recovered. And while it's possible to try and count the death toll from COVID, it's impossible to know how many lives have been forever changed by the loss of a loved one or friend.
This used to be my bed for almost a year during the COVID because I didn't want to get my family sick.
Nurse Flandersha was acutely aware of the risks of her job. It hit home harder after her close colleague Freda Okran became the first nurse to die in New York's public hospitals from COVID. Flandersha says even though COVID cases are now manageable, they are facing another crisis, a shortage of staff.
Supposed to have 1-2 patients, you're taking care of 5 patients. In an intensive care unit, it's unheard of. I've been a nurse for over 35 years, and I've never, ever seen that in my lifetime.
COVID's tragic legacy will be felt for generations. 1 million dead is an incomprehensible number, but will it be a catalyst for change to prepare the U.S. for the next outbreak? Neda Tawfiq, BBC News, New York.
Shalom, all praise to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to the hopefully elect. This lesson is going to be entitled 1 million U.S. souls. The prophets warned you. The prophets warned of the coming destruction, judgment, different plagues that were coming. Who were the ones that warned you? It was Great Millstone, GMS. We've been telling people for a long time what the Lord was going to do. Then that a pestilence was coming. Your preacher at the church didn't tell you about a pestilence. You know, different people didn't, different people you go to a church and you see these preachers, they wasn't warning you about the Lord about to bring a pestilence. Now you're getting these different various news reports, right? And they're calling it a tragic milestone. Now, first you saw the president, right? Joe Biden going into it. You know, and basically he was right on the money, you know, empty chairs at the dinner table. You know, games, just different stuff that people are not going to attend. And that just doesn't just have an impact on just them dying. It's their whole family. That's 1 million families, you know, that are left behind. Now, this is not an occasion to poke fun or to mock or even to say we told you so, even though we told you so. But this is nothing compared to what the Lord is really going to do. And in 2 years' time, 1 million United States or U.S. citizens perish. And you know what they died from. So I'm going to be very careful and choose my wording carefully in this lesson because it's a sensitive topic, sure. But as they worded, a tragic milestone, right? U.S., 19 deaths. You see, it is what it is. And they have an attempt to humanize it, put faces on, let you see the people. But you can't have 1 million damn faces, man. That'd be difficult to look at 1 million people. And that's a lot of people. On this screen now, that's a lot of people. 1 million souls. 1 million individuals perished. But it's at the hand of the Lord, though. Right? You can put it on whatever you want to. We know that the Almighty was the one that brought this thing forth. Now, at the end of the day, who was it that warned you? The prophets warned you. But first, let's go and get in the book of Job, right? Job chapter 12, and we'll start at verse 7. It says, "But ask now the beast, and they shall teach thee, and the fowls of the air, and they shall tell thee. Or speak to the earth, and it shall teach thee, and the fishes of the sea shall declare unto thee. Who knoweth not in all these that the hand of the Lord hath wrought this?" Right, it was the hand of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. He was the one. They were they, but in the name of Yahushua, the Almighty, whom by whom we get to the Almighty, Yahushua. You know, that's why we say their names together. In the name of Yahushua, Yahweh by Hashem, in the name of Yahushua. Okay, who knoweth not in all these that the hand of the Lord hath wrought this? He was the one that did it, the Almighty, in whose hand is the soul of every living thing, and the breath of all mankind is controlled by the Lord. Nobody else did it. You see, this was his plan. He is the grand architect. This is all his work, his strange work. And if you know, and we warned you, the prophets, who was it that told you? Man, I can go back in my mind to when I first came into the truth 12 years ago, 2009, September 2009, September 9th to be exact, 999, I believe. I might be wrong with that, but I know it was in September in 2009, all right? But back then, nobody was saying a pandemic was coming. People looking at us like we crazy, thinking that we're not the prophets, saying that we're not. You have a doctrine out there where you say there are no more prophets, you know, that John the Baptist was the last of the prophets. That's just not true. There are still prophets here to this very day. And who were the ones that warned you of this pandemic? This is Jeremiah 25:4. "And the Lord hath sent unto you all his servants the prophets, rising early and sending them. But you have not hearkened nor inclined your ear to hear." And many of these people, million that died, a lot of them were Israelites, a whole lot. You had Native Americans. They tried to show you different, you know, different people. You had Latinos, Negroes, and Native Americans. You made up the greatest number. Of course, you had some other nations in there too, but you made up the greatest numbers. The prophets were sent unto you. Even now, you still don't want to listen. They said, "Turn ye again now, every one from his evil way and from the evil of your doings, and dwell in the land that the Lord hath given unto you and to your fathers forever and ever. And go not after other gods to serve them and to worship them, and provoke me not to anger with the works of your hands, and I will do you no hurt." So we brought that message. Now that Jeremiah warned the Israelites back then, but we come in that same manner now, telling you to stop with the false gods and the idols. But no, you love your false gods and idols too much. You can't separate from them. So now what? Now you living without relatives. And now you got to stop thinking about them and think about yourselves, because the next great judgment, we don't know what it's going to be. It could be the nuclear destruction, but before that, it's going to be many untold millions that die because of your iniquity. That's what always the problem is. Your love for these stupid false gods and these idols. The Lord said, go not after the other gods to serve them and to worship them, and provoke me not to anger with the works of your hands, and I will do you no hurt. 1 million people didn't hear that. They wouldn't listen to it. Yet ye have not hearkened unto me, said the Lord, that you might provoke me to anger with the works of your hands to your own hurt. See, you're only hurting yourself, because the Most High going to do what he's going to do. Now, let's go right in straight through. You see this number, 1 million people, and you get, oh, Lord, that's a lot of people, a lot of families, a lot of children, a lot of lives. Yeah, that's true. There are a lot of lives, a lot of children, a lot of families. You can see here they got Jake on there twice. This guy, he's on there here, and they got him over there. Same dude, right? He's the only one that got like that. They ain't got nobody else in 2 separate spots. See, gonna kill you twice as much, Jake. But you know what? None of these people were innocent. You can look at them, you can go in their lives, and they show videos of them when they were still alive. You look at that and you get a tear. You know, they plucking your heartstrings or whatever. But none of these people were innocent, because why? You can't be innocent if the prophets warning you. The prophets warned the people what was gonna happen to them. Even now, they're still bucking up. 12 years later, since I've been in the truth, and the apostles way longer, 30 plus years, 35. People been being warned for a long time what the Lord was going to do, and they're not listening yet. So 1 million is not enough. You're going to have more untold deaths. Maybe they'll listen then. Job 4:7. Remember, I pray thee, whoever perish being innocent, Or where were the righteous cut off? If you was innocent, you wouldn't be dead. Right? They're all guilty with sin. And a great many of them probably would say that JC is their savior, but they ain't here though. Even as I have seen, they that plow iniquity and sow wickedness reap the same. Yeah, it came back on them. But what happened to them? By the blast of the Most High they perish, and by the breath of his nostrils are they consumed. And that was both past, present, and future will happen again. This is Deuteronomy 32, verse 39. See now that I, even I am he, and there is no God with me. Right? He says there's no other almighty being but him. We know that his son is subject to his will. Okay? They're not the same being. The son is one. The father is another who is greater. See now that I, even I am he, and there is no God with me. I kill and I make alive. I wound and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand. So nobody perished being innocent, but nobody's going to deliver you out of the hand of the Lord. You see, you don't die innocent. You think you people see, but a lot of our people can even now continue on thinking that they better than the Lord, that they better than the prophets. You think you know better than we do, right? I've been going to church for 20 years or 40 years. Oh, you know what? And I was wrong. They got this lady on there twice, right here. But she's another Jake. They got her on there twice. And they may have other people in there duplicated. You know what I mean? No big deal. Either way, the news is not wrong. They're going to inflate the numbers, of course. They play with the numbers. And we know for certain that all of these 1 million would probably not be credited to that, dying that specific way. But it doesn't matter. 1 million souls is 1 million souls. Whether you say they had the flu, whether some other thing happened or they died from this, realistically, it is what it is. The whole point of the matter is that the Lord is the one that's doing it. Verse 40, for I lift up my hand to heaven and say, I live forever. So the one that lives forever, eternity, that's who did it, the Almighty. And his son, he's going to give all things into the hand of his son. But they're not the same being. This is Psalm 68, verse 20. He that is our God is the God of salvation, and unto the Most High, the Lord, belong the issues from death. So yeah, it was him. He was behind it. He is behind recalling 1 million souls to come back to the spiritual realm. You see? And the reason why, let's go to it. The Most High is very angry with all the wickedness going on the earth. This is 2nd Esdras 15, verse 1. As always, sin is the problem. It says, behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord. So we speak the prophecy. We were telling people long before this happened, long before this thing that they speak on, this word with the numbers in it, this pandemic, before it was ever spoken of. We were weekly read Matthew 24, where it talks about what's the word? You have to go there and grab it. Just hold on. Oh, pestilence. That's what it is. Pestilence. We read that weekly and tell you that the Lord is going to bring earthquakes, pestilences, plagues of all sorts. People like, y'all preaching hate. Y'all talking about the Old Testament God, not the God now. No, man. The Almighty never changes. You see, he racking up high numbers. 1 million American deaths, right? They said it was 2 million across Europe. So guess what? America got hit harder because Europe is its own continent. So only 2 million across that whole continent. But in the landmass known as the USA, 1 million souls extinguished by the Lord. You see, verse 2 says, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. All the prophecies in the Bible are faithful and true. Fear not the imaginations against thee. Let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee. And the incredulity means unbelief. The Lord said, don't worry about the unbelievers. And many of the 1 million, all of the 1 million were really unbelievers. It says unbelief, incredulity, the state of being unwilling or unable to believe something. So they wasn't able to believe. And you have more of them now. It's more people that the Lord is going to kill now than in the past 2 years when he killed these 1 million. Fear not the imaginations against thee. Let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee. For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. That's right. The Lord said all the unfaithful are going to die in their unfaithfulness. Behold, said the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world. You think this is the first time we're reading this? We read this back all these 12 years, multiple times a month. That was being read before the pandemic ever hit. Behold, said the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. But why is he going to do it? For wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. So the Lord said, because of the wickedness, it's exceedingly polluted the whole earth. I'm tired of it. I got to get some of these people out of here. Okay. Now I want to go on. Verse 14 says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. And one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. These times are going to come, whether you like it or not, whether you believe it or not. We prophesied of what's already going on, and the Lord is going to do more. He is going to do more. He's going to bring Jacob's trouble. I'm going to go here. I'll start here at verse 24. 2 Ezra 15:24 says, woe to them that sin and keep not my commandments, saith the Lord. You see, it goes back. If you don't keep the commandments, what are you doing? You're sinning. And sin, the wages of sin is death. Romans 6:23. The Lord says, woe to them that sin and keep not my commandments, saith the Lord. I will not spare them. Did you hear that? I will not spare them. He didn't spare. He's not going to spare. Never has, never will. Okay? I will not spare them. Go your way, ye children, from the power. Defile not my sanctuary. Why? For the Lord knoweth all them that sin against him. Therefore delivereth he them unto death and destruction. You see that? He's going to deliver you to death and destruction. So, show you again, 1 million individuals that perished in the USA. Guess what? They got delivered to death and destruction by the Almighty. You might not like it. You might not want to hear it. You might turn a blind eye. You might say, well, you being insensitive. I had a relative to die. Well, hey, be that as it may, the Lord is going to do what he's going to do. You see this guy right here, right? And this girl was going on about her dad or whatever. You see? And what did the Lord say? For the Lord knoweth all them that sin against him, and therefore delivereth he them unto death and destruction. So those people committing sins against the Lord. For now are the plagues come upon the whole earth, and ye shall remain in them. For the Most High shall not deliver you. Why? Why won't the Lord deliver you? He's a God of love. Because you have sinned against him. And not just that you committed sins, but that you refuse to repent from your sins. And when you're like that, the Most High does not deal with you. He hates sinners. He's going to punish you. This is Ecclesiastes 12:6. It says, for the Most High hateth sinners. You got it? The Most High hated sinners. And what will he do to them? It will repay vengeance unto the ungodly, and keepeth them against the mighty day of their punishment. So a scenario is this. You be a sinner. You walk around the earth doing everything you want to do. You got your damn mouth open. You want to listen to what the Lord's saying. You're mocking the prophets. Then you wind up on a poster like this. Right? The Most High deliver you to the mighty day of your judgment to be punished. You see? He reserves you. So there was 1 million individuals that were reserved for those days. And YouTube might get all extra sensitive and try to take the video down. So what? You can't take the million deaths back. 2 Peter 2:9, the Lord knoweth how to deliver the godly out of temptation. So if they were being godly, if they had repented or turned back to the Lord with their full heart, then the Most High may have provided a way for them to be delivered out of that. The Lord knoweth how to deliver the godly out of temptation. But if they didn't listen, and you don't listen, and to reserve the unjust unto the day of judgment to be punished. There you go. See, he's going to deliver you to that great day wherein you will be punished. Right? And many people now that are still alive, they're going to burn when the missiles hit, or die in other various ways. They're going to die in other various ways that they don't know about, that they never saw coming, and neither did you. So just a quick, it wasn't really that quick, but just a video just showing the power, yet again, giving all honor, praise, and glory to Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua for his mighty works that he's doing in the earth. See? And none of these people were innocent. So, you know, as sad as some of it may be, it's still very needful that we bring you these lessons, that we give you these reports. You know, you got to understand and know that the Lord is not messing around. You got to see the very deliberate act of his to get rid of 1 million people and counting from the United States by way of this pandemic. Even if the devil did do it, even if these people did manipulate something or whatever, it doesn't matter. The Almighty could have easily stopped them, but why did he stop them? Because he wanted it to happen. He was with it. All praise to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Shalom.